Baba Kilindi, good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. The search is this morning's topic, along with that I have a grow workshop this Saturday from 12 noon to 3 p.m. And it's well worth those people who are in the area close enough to go ahead and become part of this workshop, because it puts the responsibility on you. People call me from all over. Where can I get mushrooms, or where can I get this or that in my area? I don't know where to go. If you learn to grow yourself, you put the responsibility where it ultimately is anyway, on yourself. There are people who take this as a hobby, the next new thing in their life, and they search for everything and do everything, doing, Cambo, and I'm doing salvia, and I'm mixing LSD and DMT, and I'm searching around for the next new thing for maybe not the external party, but the internal party. Well, that's not how I see this thing working. I see very few who have thoroughly explored what they're doing without trying to add something else because they feel like they aren't getting what they need, or what the literature says, or what the old ones, the ancient ones, said that they would get from this experience. But you haven't explored this experience enough to be able to know. It's not a one-shot deal. It's an art form. You must draw from it the wisdom that is contained. But if you're just on the periphery, if you're just on the side, then you're not going to get that. It is very difficult for people to get what they say they want to get out of the experience, because the motivations are flawed. If you want to move in the celestial, interdimensional, extra-dimensional, hyperdimensional realms, you can't humanize those realms, or figure that things that you get in a non-human singularity position and put them into your everyday life. Your everyday life is for your everyday life. You pay your car note, you change the baby's diapers, you milk the goats, whatever it is that you do. But don't think that you're going to pull something that is from the realms of the ancestors, or the realms of the forecestors. In other words, those who have gone on into higher plenums of knowledge and information, and pull it back into your everyday mundane life. So if you haven't thoroughly, as much as humanly possible, explored whatever you're doing, then you can't look at it as a failure. You can't look at that if you try your first time 5 grams and it doesn't get you into what Baba Kilindi has talked about on his podcast, or in a lecture, or whatever. Well, I took 5 grams and I didn't get, I didn't see no aliens. I didn't go into no wormholes. I didn't see no insectoids. I didn't, all these type of things. The goal is the experience. What I try to do, and what I strive to do, is go and do the way the first person went and did it. They had no preparation. They had no system. They had no shaman. They weren't looking for healing. They took the compound and they experienced a new thing outside of the realm of the human consciousness. And it started, not the first time, because, you know, they weren't trying to do that. They weren't starting the second time because they figured maybe it was a fluke. Maybe something happened. Maybe my mind just went left field. But when they came that third time and they knew that it was what they had eaten, that mushroom, then they were on an exploratory journey. They weren't doing it because they had post-traumatic stress disease. They weren't doing it because they had arthritis. They weren't doing it because, you know, they had childhood trauma of somebody imposing unwanted or unnecessary sexual dominance over them. They did it to explore what they had found out was a different place, somewhere that wasn't here, but somewhere out there, somewhere in there. So what I try to do is do it the way the first person who did it that third time did it. They did it for exploration. They didn't do it to hit the lotto number. They didn't do it to make their lives better, to become a more compassionate, loving person. If you're already a good person, mushrooms ain't gonna make you no better. If you're a bum, a clown, a knucklehead, it's not gonna stop you from being a bum, a clown, or a knucklehead. Well, it may, but that happens few and far between. So I'm not taking it to be a better person. That comes from your own inner conviction that you have in the world, not from the multiplicity of different realms and existences that lie outside in and inside in the multiverse and also in the infraparticle realms. If we are really serious about this thing, you learn to grow yourself. You share. It spreads. You get that 100th monkey, where, as Rupert Sheldrake says, you set up the morphogenetic field, the field of energy that radiates and resonates inside of the human species. Meaning that when you get a saturation point of enough people doing it, and it sets up that field of energy, the field of energy then permeates not only the people doing it, but it also spreads it even to the people that aren't doing it, like a lion learning a new technique. When enough lions learn that new technique, the baby lions come out the womb doing that new technique of hunting without having to actually learn it from another lion. And it's the same thing with entheogens. We're trying to get enough people in. We're not trying to stand over anybody and say, I do big doses, or I do this new thing or that new thing, or some new compound has come out. People taking, Sugarland information and making a new click on the molecule so that it's a new compound. And, oh man, I found a new molecule that does such and such and so and so, just like such and such and so and so. We already have it. We don't have to search for it. If you got mushrooms, you don't need nothing else. If you're doing ayahuasca and that's your thing, you don't need nothing else. You don't have to try everything that comes on the Facebook. This is a new compound, we snorting ground up, unicorn horn and all this kind of stuff. Oh man, they got the new thing out is the unicorn horn, you know. No. So if you're serious, you learn how to grow. You don't have to learn how to grow from me. There are people that teach how to grow all over. If you're diligent, you can find the information out yourself. You can go YouTube, you can go books, you can do all these different types of things. What coming to my class will do will give you some insight and some shortcuts that I utilized from years and years and years of growing my own mushrooms. I've been growing mushrooms since the 1970s. And I learn every day how to be more efficient, how to be cleaner, how to deal with techniques that will make what I'm doing more efficient. So the search for everything, you know, I'm not into it. So if there's some exotic new compound that you have, you know, you can ask me about it and I'll tell you I don't know nothing about it. The things that I haven't thoroughly explored, I'll tell you or deal with some information that I have that's in the general sense, but I'm no master of the things that I have not thoroughly explored. Not once or twice, you know, I did it once or twice and I'm the expert on it. No, I'm not an ayahuasca expert because I've not thoroughly explored ayahuasca. It's not necessary for me to thoroughly explore ayahuasca because I have mushrooms. Mushrooms are an older plenum of information than ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is an alchemy. It is a chemistry. It is a human construct because there's a human has to make ayahuasca. You don't just get ayahuasca out in the jungle. You don't walk up and oh man, there's ayahuasca bush and eat it and have the experience. Fungi is 465 million years older than any plant on Earth or any plants that have been on Earth. If I want to learn about my family tree, I don't go to my daughter, I go to my grandmother or my grandfather. If my great-grandfather and great-grandmother were around, I would go to them. I don't go to my daughter or I don't go to my son. You go to the oldest one with the most information. LSD is a wonderful compound. But LSD only has the information that is within it from when Albert Hofmann synthesized it in his lab in Basel, Switzerland, and to this very second. What people put into it by going into the experience, because the experience, when you eat it, it eats you. It takes your information and puts it in the plenum, the library of those who have taken the compound through quantum entanglement. They entangle all that information of your experience, whatever you've seen. If you've seen colors swirling to the left or colors swirling to the right, it puts those colors swirling to the left and those colors swirling to the right into the plenum of information. For a long time, LSD was just a weird feeling and colors. Now the plenum is getting more dense, fuller. More information is being put in. So you get experiences and all those different types of things, yes. But it's in no way mushrooms. But you can't understand that until you take a sufficient dose of mushrooms. I'm not telling people to take a bunch of mushrooms for no reason, but you have people who will tell or try to tell me or try to tell others who are doing high dose entheogens that, well, there's no reason to take more than 5 grams of mushroom because anything other than that is a waste because there's no difference between 5 grams and 30 grams, 5 grams and 40 grams. That's absolutely ridiculous. It is an exponential difference between 5 grams and 40 grams. But I will say what it is. You're scared. There's no amount that you're going to eat that you're going to kill yourself. You know, I never seen such people who are, you know, a group of young people who are so, well, the reason is yes, you've been hoodwinked, you've been bamboozled, you've been took, you've been had, you've been brainwashed. You think everything is supposed to be love, fairies, and bubbles when you go into an experience and think that, that you're supposed to, it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be nice, it's supposed to be, gentle. Is life all fun and all gentle? No, not in no place. Don't think higher dimensional entities have any reason to even acknowledge you, let alone be concerned with you and want to help you and want to love you and want to make sure you make it through. In the multiverse, there are beings like that, but that ain't the majority of them. No one cares about you and your humanness and all of those human emotions, fear and love and all that kind of stuff. Nobody cares when you get out there, whether you're scared or not. You're frightened. Somebody's going to come like your mother and hold your hand or cradle you in their arms and tell you that they love you and it's all right. You have to pull and drag from this thing your own confidence. Now they say, Kilindi, you're a warrior, and you look at it like these things. I'm of a different sensibility. Well, then, if you can't stand the heat, stay out the kitchen. So people linger around the same dose, the same little whirly gigs and colors and seeing sound, hearing colors, the synesthesia, maybe encountering a fairy or something like that. No. If that's what you want, keep doing that. But when you come to me and you ask me, or you come to on my podcast and try to downgrade what I'm talking about, Kilindi takes these big doses so he can, say that he takes big doses. No, I take big doses because I want to go to the next step, the next level, move to something more, go where no one has gone, see what no one has seen, be and feel that which no one has felt. And that's for each and every one of us. If we just take the dose, and to be able to take the doses that we need, you have to learn how to grow yourself. Shoot, you take your girl out to the movies, and if you go to dinner, you're going to spend $70 for dinner, $70 for movie and a dinner, and that's cheap. And that doesn't include your gas in your car, or if you have to take a Uber, or you have to take the subway or the bus. For a little bit of money and a little bit of equipment, you can learn to grow yourself. You don't have to go to Peru to the ayahuasca ceremony. I know for a lot of you all, you linger at the low doses and it's church for you. It's camaraderie, just like people who go to all the different conferences. You have people that go to all the conferences in Europe. They're like gypsies. They must have some money because they're going all from this country to that country, this country to that country, see them at all the different conferences, all the different festivals. Oh man, seen you at the last conference. How are you last year? What you been doing since the last conference? What you been doing since the last festival? So and so and so and so. It's social, it's church. You need something to hang on to. You need to be part of a group. You need to be part of the in crowd. You need to be part of the clique. I'm not interested in clicks. That's not what I'm sharing. I'm sharing the alone journey into the alone, where you have yourself, your power, the I am that I am. You hold on to your ego. That's all you got. When you're out there or when you're deep in there, all you have is yourself, the self, the I, the me, the I am that I am. All of this ego dissolution stuff about, I'm just part of the big white light, buzz tone in white light, and I'm nothing. I'm just part of everything. Y'all can have that if you want. I stand as who I am everywhere in existence that exists. And if you're not part of that sensibility, if you're not part of that, don't listen to my podcast, don't listen to my Go Lives, don't come listen to me at one of these conferences and things like that, because I'm going to tell you how it is in the real. And I'm going to tell these folks how it is in the real. If you just here and you done wrote a book, you ain't never took nothing, you the expert, people are coming to you and you faking the funk, I'm going to stand up on stage and say that you're faking the funk. I don't have anything to prove. I have children, I have grandchildren, I have houses, I've had women in life who love me. I don't have no reason to tell you something that's not the truth. We have our own conference. I don't have to go to your conference. I do that because there may be one or two people there that I could share with that will help make a difference inside of this thing. Nobody is funding me. I ain't got no sponsors. I ask for donations for the work on people who say that they care about the work. I have 2 Facebook pages, and they full up to the brim. People are trying. I got 5,000 people trying to get in on my Facebook because it's open to the whole world. I had people calling me and trying to contact me from Russia and Latvia and all over the world. And all of that don't mean anything. These people are sincere people who are searching for something where you got what you need for your search. People calling me in the middle of the night. I'm depressed. I'm thinking about killing myself. What can I do with my life? How do I keep going? Shit, I don't know what you need to do to keep going. I don't know why you're in the position you're in. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist or any of those things. You ask me a question, I'll tell you what I think. Stop thinking that nonsense. Stand up. Stop pitying yourself. You take mushrooms that made you feel better 2 years ago, take some more mushrooms. I'm not going to baby you. I'm not going to hold your hand. If you can't stand out here and get out here and go out here yourself, there's no way you can get out here. And I'm not just browbeating people. I'm saying that, hey, start with the mushrooms at a low dose, 5 dry grams, with a sitter. Have your experience. Let it work through your mind for a month or so, or 8 or 2 months, or whatever time you need. Then you take 7 grams with a sitter, and you let that experience go through. You observe it, you think about it, you put it into yourself. Then the 3rd time is 9 grams with a sitter. And you let that go through your mind and body system, your spirit, for several months. Then you are ready to go on your own. In actuality, you were ready to go on your own on the first dose, but to gain confidence in yourself that you're not going to do anything silly, you do it 3 times with a sitter for your own confidence. Once you have confidence and you feel ready, then you can go on your journey alone without the sitter. Then it starts. Then it begins. You then move up incrementally, 2 or 3 grams each time. If you feel like you want to rock your world, you can jump 5. It's up to you. There are no gurus. There are no masters. There are no people that are going to hold your hand through this thing. They don't know either. The shaman, which is misnomer all over the world, was the crazy person who that they couldn't even keep in the village. They had to put them outside of the village and let them do their thing. You don't go to shaman school. If your system allows, you may be an apprentice to the spiritual person, but you got to be the crazy person too. And they got to take your butt outside of the village and say, here, do something with this person because he can't stay here with us because he's crazy. So it calls you. You don't want to be it. That's like wanting to be Popeye. I want to be a spiritual person. You can't want to be a spiritual person. Either you are a spiritual person or you're not. Learn to grow yourself. That way you don't have to pay nobody. You don't have to find it. When you want to do it, you can do it because you have it right in your freezer. Learn to grow yourself. I have a grow workshop this Saturday, 12 to 3. If you are so inclined and in the area, come on out. If you got a free weekend, you ain't in the area, come on out, but you have to contact me today because there are certain supplies that has to be with each person so that they have their supplies. So I have to know today so that I can get the supplies. This will make you perpetual if you are diligent. If you got some sense, if you can bake a cake, you never have to buy any more mushrooms again. You don't have to buy any spores. You don't have to buy anything other than, the little bit of equipment that you need to, sterilize the media and things like that. You can give these same mushrooms, the spores from those mushrooms, to your children and grandchildren. If you do what you're supposed to do. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to grow any mushrooms. I'm only guaranteeing that the system that I show you is viable. You have to be diligent. You have to be meticulous. You have to work this thing yourself. You have to practice. So that's for Saturday. I should have done Friday night before then. Friday night, we're doing a urban preparedness disaster workshop. It will deal with food storage, water preparation for long-term storage. It will deal with building your bug-out bag or preparing your house to be able to stay in that house. It will deal with gas masks, chemical, nuclear, and biological gas masks, clean rooms. It will deal with things like grinding whole grains to make bread and how to make bread, how to build your own bread oven in the confines of your own house or in your backyard. It will deal with sprouting, growing wheatgrass for dense vitamins and minerals. So many different things. Self-defense. What guns to buy, what rifles to have, what pistols to have, how much ammunition to have. Cold weather survival in your own house. Because y'all just forget that in any insurrection or anything that disrupts the power You know, your heating doesn't run without electricity. I hope y'all know that, even if it's gas. So how to hook the battery up to your gas valve so that it opens, so that the gas valve opens if there's gas available coming through the pipes. Your gas valve is not going to open because that works off of electricity, 12 volts, to open that valve to let the gas through to be able to deal with that. And also, what are you going to do with your blower? How to deal with solar panels. How to dig wells. You can dig a well in your basement. You didn't know that, did you? You can deal with a well in your basement with a hand pump like the old days, or it can be a solar pump, or it can be an electric pump where you have your own water. Because if the electricity go off, the water don't come on. Because they have pumps where they pump the water from to your house. Water don't just float uphill in the pipe to your house. Or how to dig a well in your backyard. You know, they used to have wells here. And in Michigan and Detroit, there are streams, lakes, rivers, and all those things in and under the streets. How to purify water. What water purifiers to get. Steam distillation. Chemical purification. Filter purification. How to build your own filters. How to make air wells. Did you know that we're surrounded by distilled water? It's in the air. How to condense that air into usable, potable water. That's why you know that folks are bullshitting you about water. They've had air well technology for 6,000 years. They know how to pull water out the air. Your air conditioning, when it's running, is dripping water out the side of the thing. It's no different. You can build those. As a matter of fact, there are companies that have them on sale that look just like the regular bottled water machine that utilize ways to pull water out the air by driving air through, and the differentiation in temperature will create condensation, of which is collected inside of the machine itself. It's no different than the water on the outside of the glass when you put ice in it and it's a warm day. That's not water from the inside. That's water from the differentiation between the temperature of the outside the glass and inside of the glass, which creates water out of the air. So I know you've been to your local urban survival and prep workshops before, but it's not like the one that I'm going to do. I've been doing this for 50 years. What tents to buy? What sleeping bags to have? Why do you have to have a pad, a sleep pad that has air in it to insulate you from the ground? What if you have to take your bed out and set your tent up in your bedroom? How to hunker down, how to close the rest of the house off. Why you think them old houses had doors to close the living room off and doors to close the dining room off? That's because people didn't heat all the whole house. But y'all run around naked in the house because it's on 80 all over the house. No, that's why you had the radiator in your bedroom and the radiator here and the radiator there, and keep the basement warm so the pipes don't freeze and heat the doggone bedroom instead of the whole house. They suckered you out of coal, which was efficient, which was clean. Anthracite coal burns blue, just like the gas that comes through your pipe. Not the soft coal, but anthracite coal. It's like glass. But they want you to think when you got probably another 5,000 years of coal, that gas is the way to go. When coal is the way to go, you got 5,000 years of coal that you could use. And if you say burning coal is bad for the environment, you're more likely to get hit by a comet, because we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about the Taurid meteor stream that we pass through twice a year, in June and November. My good friend Graham Hancock says it's like putting on a blindfold and crossing an 8-lane highway during rush hour. We do that twice a year, and it takes 12 days to go through the Taurid meteor stream. The last small piece that came through to the Earth from the Taurid meteor stream was Tunguska in Russia, where a small meteor, about a few hundred yards, probably about 100 yards in size, exploded in the atmosphere and flattened 80 million trees. What if that was over St. Louis or Los Angeles? There was just a meteor that came that was in Georgia last week. These are hunks and pieces that came from the meteors that killed the dinosaurs and that were part of what created what was called the Younger Dryas, 12,600 BCE, which came across the top of Canada and hit Ypsilanti, Michigan, and tore through a 2-mile thick plate of ice that set on the North American continent, which sunk Atlantis and many other places around the world. That's why you have all these different underwater cities and underwater pillars and all these different type of things, because it raised the water table up 400 meters. Excuse me, not 400 meters, but it raised the water table up so that most places were inundated with water and were sunk in one afternoon. That's what killed the megafauna in North America. The megafauna are large animals over 100 pounds. That's where all the woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and all the big animals that were in North America, that's why they all died. Africa sits on a plate. That's why they have 90% of their megafauna. That's why they have elephants and hippopotamuses and rhinoceros. All that stuff was in the United States too, but it got killed off when those comets came through and hit the ice shelf and killed those animals almost instantly. The anthropologists want to tell you that primitive hunter-gatherers with spears killed 50,000 woolly mammoths with spears before they could reproduce themselves in the middle of an ice age. No, it all happened in one afternoon. So are your survival people talking about this? Are your urban survival people talking about that? You're more likely for that to happen than, cold choke you out when we're in the midst of not even have to deal with that, because we have technologies that could create a paradise on this earth, but they don't want to use them because they want to still charge you next month for that gas and the water and all those different types of things. Don't cost nothing. Natural gas is in the ground. It don't cost nothing. That's how they started out. They said coal is dirty, it's inefficient. And they came in with the gas at a very, very, very low price that you could afford. Then when they pulled all those coal boilers and coal furnaces out of your houses and put in gas, and you were stuck because they wasn't even selling coal boilers and coal furnaces anymore. You couldn't get them. They were only selling gas furnaces and boilers, except for some places like, the Amish and in Pennsylvania and stuff like that, where they still built them by hand. Of which I sell also Key Stoker boilers and furnaces. Some Key Stoker boilers and furnaces have been in continuous use in Pennsylvania and Arkansas and things like that since the 1950s. You put your little gas boiler on for 60, 70 years and run it continuously and tell me if it's still going to work, because them Amish in up in there in Pennsylvania and stuff like that make that stuff so good that they just make it for their house and that's it. It's finished. Baking bread with wood, all of those different types of things, stuff that you don't know about. How to make butter, I know you say butter ain't vegan, but Krishna said butter is the food of the gods. So do your due diligence. Learn how to grow yourself. Become independent. Have some food stored away, even if you can't make it to the workshop. Start studying these things, because it's necessary for you to have and your children to have knowledge of these things, be able to survive in the cold. Create some toughness and tenacity in yourself. What you can and what you can't do, what you can and what you can't stand. So Friday evening, you have to message me for the survival workshop, natural disasters and unnatural disasters. In Detroit, we live at the 50, 25, 30 miles from the raggediest nuclear power plant in the world, Fermi 2. They let nuclear waste out into the lake all the time. You mean to tell me y'all never read the book, We Almost Lost Detroit? You almost lost Detroit several times because of that raggedy nuclear power plant out there outside 75. Go between here and Toledo, you'll see it going towards Toledo to your left, coming back from Toledo, going to Detroit on your right-hand side. What happened if that thing just, decides because it's old and raggedy to start leaking nuclear radiation and you got to get out of here? But it's already on you. But if you have the things in your house, if you have a gas mask, a nuclear, biological, and chemical gas mask, and some Tyvek paint suits from Home Depot and some duct tape, you can put you and your kids in the car and ride through. Wash yourself when you get to the other end. Take your iodine on the way to protect your thyroid, because nuclear radiation is going to go straight to your thyroid. If it goes to the thyroid of your children, they ain't gonna make it long, and they ain't gonna get to adult age. So the iodine floods your thyroid so that the nuclear radiation won't be able to get in because it's already full, and the iodine protects your thyroid. So you can make it out of here to Chicago, or you can make it out of here to St. Louis and not get burnt up so much by the radiation. It's just like, we don't do our research. We don't know. We talk about genetically modified organisms. You don't know whether genetically modified organisms are good for you or not good for you. We know Monsanto got a plan for you. But if you don't have people who are scientifically astute to be able to understand what these things are and what's been done and how they've been modified, food been modified, genetically modified for the last 5,000 years. Yes, they have some crazy stuff out here that's genetically modified, yes. But we don't know that. We just heard it because we don't have the scientists doing that work. And if we have the scientists doing that work, they ain't doing it for us and letting us know what's going on. So if you're not doing intense study, stop running your mouth about what is and what ain't. Now I'm coming kind of hard this morning, folks think, but you know, we have to be serious. We have to get serious. If you ain't growing, if you a mushroom enthusiast, a mushroom journeyer or whatever, and you ain't growing your own mushrooms, then what you doing? You have the opportunity to come Saturday. Everybody needs to know the survival uh, information, how to store grains, you know, long term, hard red winter wheat that can be sprouted, can be made into bread. You can make pancakes that you can make gruel with, all of that. How do you store it long term? Why you don't store rice long term? Because rice is oily and it'll only last good 18 months. You got to be eating it all the time. Hard red winter wheat in the tomb of Tutankhamun was still sproutable when they brought it out the tomb from 5,000 years ago. That's why you store hard red winter wheat. How to sprout, you know. You can learn to grow food. If you don't have a food storage area, you know, a root cellar or something like that, that you can keep that stuff over the year. And if you ain't planned out, if you can't can, you know, and things like that to preserve it over the winter, then you're just out here. So you have to learn how to sprout. Or you can have micro vegetables all year long, even in the middle of winter, in your own bedroom that you're growing enough to be able to have enough micronutrients and minerals and vitamins and those type of things to keep you healthy so you can get outside and start growing. And if you get out, start growing, and the other people don't know how to grow, and your food is out there in the doggone field, you know, you think people who are starving, who don't know how to grow, are just going to leave your vegetables alone? How are you going to protect it? Or do you understand how to use mirrors and light in your basement and grow hydroponically in your basement? If you don't have a basement, in your attic. These are the type of things that I'm talking about, and that I'm talking about, that I'm not hearing other people talking about. How to grow fish in your house. And I know y'all talk about tilapia as the mixed, it's a rat, a dog, a catfish, and 2 or 3 eels mixed together. Ain't a damn thing wrong with tilapia. It's an Egyptian and African fish that if you grow it, not utilizing food pellets and other things that are harmful to the fish and harmful to you, if you utilize larvae and greens to grow the fish is fine fish for those that eat fish. It's what's fed to the tilapia that makes it a not good choice to eat, because, you know, they feed pig shit and stuff like that to tilapia in China and sending it to the United States. No, it's not going to be good if it's eating pig shit. But if you have greens, the bottom of your microgreens, if you understand how to grow larvae and worms and bugs and all those different type of things for the fish to eat, which is part of what the fish eat, is fine. But learning how to do that, you can grow catfish or anything in these particular areas of knowledge and information of how to do it. And I've done it. These are things that I've done. I'm not just telling and talking theory here. So hey, I made it and the information available. Message me on Facebook Messenger or whatever if you're interested in coming to the workshop tomorrow. The survival workshop. If you're interested in how to grow your mushrooms, message me Saturday because mushrooms at the workshop just growing any particular type of mushroom. That's a survival survival area of information how to grow mushrooms, because mushrooms will grow. You can get mushrooms, you can get oyster mushrooms, you can grow them on blue jeans, you can grow them on old paper, you can grow them on Ailanthus altissima. Ailanthus altissima is what they call the ghetto palm, or the alley tree. The alley tree is the one that grows from nothing in the beginning of summer to 15 feet tall by the end of summer. The one that you want to get rid of, that you cut down, it shoots out 6 shoots. It secretes enzymes, so oak and beech and cottonwood and other trees won't grow because it is a beast as far as growing a tree. It's not a hardwood tree, but you could drill holes in that, put mycelium from the oyster mushroom in it, and it will grow girded at the bottom, and they will grow edible mushrooms in your environment that you can put in the back of old houses and up and down the alley, where you get pounds of mushrooms that you can eat, gourmet mushrooms from the Ailanthus altissima. They are a high energy tree because it goes from a shoot in the beginning of summer to 10, 15 feet tall by the end of the summer. And in 3 years, it's a whole tree. And there are hundreds of thousands of these trees in the area. And if you know how to do that, you can go in the alley behind your mama's house and plant mushrooms. You can go over little man them house, plant mushrooms. You can go over to behind your house in the alley, and I'm saying plant, you inoculate, plant, mushrooms in the tree where they'll grow out of the tree, and you can come back for several years and collect mushrooms. You know how much a mushroom sandwich is worth? If you didn't bake some bread and sauteed up you some mushrooms and put you some greens and a piece of tilapia on some bread when ain't nobody got no food, and you selling sandwiches out the back door while holding your shotgun, you have people who will give their Lexus away for 10 sandwiches. People were buying houses and property and things like that with sacks of potatoes during the Depression, but you don't know nothing about the Depression because you don't understand or study history about famine in the United States and famine in the world. So, hey, like I said, I'm making it available for my community so that I can say, hey, I've done my part. If y'all rather, go see Mission Impossible Friday evening and spend $50 on Mission Impossible, because the popcorn combo is $22.50. It costs you $13 to get in. So, that's, $50. If you rather do that on Friday night, then come down and get some real information. I'm not talking about the lightweight stuff. I'm telling you where you can buy the water barrels, potable water barrels, that you can put in your basement. How much chlorine bleach or how much hydrogen peroxide to put in the water to make it safe storage for long term. As I said before, what water filters to get, because we're we're doing this in the city of Detroit. You got water around. You can even dig a well in your basement, but you can go down to the river with some buckets and take enough water daily back to the house. But how you going to purify it? How you going to drink it? You're going to have to do something with it, because you can't drink that Detroit River water because all that stuff from St. Clair Shores and, from Macomb County going to be floating down to Lake Erie. So you need something to purify that water with. So I'm just giving my 2 cents this morning. Tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock, 8850 Woodward Avenue. Come on down to the Urban Survival Workshop given by myself. And Saturday, the Mushroom Grow Workshop. You have to inbox me for that, or you have to message me for that, or you have to email me for that. Email is kilindi@hotmail.com. That's KILINDI @hotmail.com. Thank you for listening to me. and have a nice morning. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow. See you Saturday, or see you tomorrow, or see you Saturday. Peace.